it's all.
It doesn't want to talk to us anymore, so.
Number 5 is a theoretical framework, can't speak, used, episode that in the theorist, yes, it's Levine's conservation model was used as a
Okay,
theoretical framework for this study.
okay, so you would say, and you don't always have, you
I
can say
stated
yes, but
as
if, you might just say
stated by
this,
Salon,
the
Francis
theoretical.
2004, the theoretical framework was.
Okay, now here's the problem, remember, and cited in, did you say?
Or I said as stated.
Okay, I think it's as cited in.
Cited, okay,
And I
better,
want you
okay.
to use that term because, so behind Levine's conservation model, as cited in Zalon, 2004, is a or something like that, is a theoretical framework for this study, something like that. Does that make sense? So after the, and I'll put it up on the blackboard for you, but after you're basically
There it is.
putting a secondary citation, why are you using a secondary citation? You don't have Levine's
Article.
1991.
Yeah.
Right, he's the theorist, but you don't have that access to that particular theoretical article.
Can we blow that up and make that
Did
perfect?
it come up?
Yes.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, blow, can you blow it up? Oh, you're good. Wow. I didn't do that. Oh, yeah, I guess you could go down there. Leave it to the old people. Okay.
So we can put 5 under scrutiny and make it
So
perfect.
is a theoretical framework used? And if it's yes, usually I'll have a mark like yes, and you'll go yes, or no, no. So in this case, then he has, Zalon stated that, now the reason that you don't want to word it this way, so I want you to change it.
I want to say as cited.
I want you to take, yeah, I want you to say Levine's conservation model, parentheses, as cited in Zalon, 2004, was a theoretical framework for this study.
I have a question about
Yes.
that. If you can help me understand that. So,
Okay,
I understand why you do a secondary citation.
Mhm.
If you are quoting some information that's based on that original source that you don't have access to. But in this case, we're not really saying anything about the model. We're just saying that Zalon used.
yeah, but here's the issue. Then this is the way this goes. Any theory, ever, any model that is ever mentioned, you must always have the theorist behind it. So you always have a citation. Health belief model, parentheses, Rosenstock, comma. Health promotion model, parentheses, Pender. Any theoretical framework that's used, when you mention it in a study, regardless, you always have a citation behind it. And it's typically it should be the theorist. Okay, so they've done this for us, 1991 for Levine. We don't have access to that. You don't. You
Right.
can
Right.
if you were on your own.
Right.
But not for this class. I want you to learn how to do when you don't have it and just pretend like, gee, I couldn't get it from the library as cited in. Does that make sense? That's one. Yeah.
So if we would have just put Levine's conservation model was used, and then put parentheses, Zalon, 2004.
That's incorrect.
That'd be incorrect.
It would, because you want to have it as cited in. You want to make it very clear that the model that you're speaking to, that it was cited in that particular thing. And it really gets back to what you all were asking me, well, why would I do that? Well, that's why you put it right behind the model, is because that's what is expected normally, and a primary source usually.
So is that okay like that, or?
Yes, that's that fine.
It's as cited by
You
should
need
be
to
in
have
parentheses, right?
No, parenthesis goes around
As cited by,
right?
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to make
Get rid of the
sure I get it right.
parentheses there,
and then.
Put a
okay,
comma.
Yeah. That should
right
work
after
out.
Zalon. There you go. Not hard, just, okay. And that's not a direct quote. I mean, you can work it any way you want. Just say that it's an underpinning, it's the basis for however you want to word it, so it's paraphrase. Okay, so our sixth question is, so good job. Provide one theoretical framework and what else? An operational definition for that theoretical framework, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so help us out here.
Theoretical definition, I just pulled and paraphrased from the article. Basically, the theorist stated that conservation of energy would promote improvement in functional status. So I said decrease in pain and depressive symptoms, conserve energy, and decrease in fatigue provides more energy to the individual. This energy is necessary to promote the recovery process. Zalon 2004.
Okay, now I'm gonna back you guys up in that. You went way more than you needed, because you actually have more than one concept. So remember, if you're going to be asked for a definition, you want one concept. So it could be pain, I've forgotten, is it depression, whatever.
Depression and fatigue.
Okay, and fatigue, and the dependent variable was recovery. So one of those four, I don't care, whatever it looks like, it's gonna be something that you can use to get the theoretical definition. But it's just one concept, and then you're gonna take it, and you're going to look at how was this measured in the methods section. So, hold on to it. Let me ask the other groups, do the other groups have anything differently than this? And if so, would you share it? Whoever, the other groups that had something,
Oh,
just to
for this
add,
study?
because this is, it's not that it's, you're taking more concepts than you need, because you only want one and give a definition. So I don't know if anybody has one different, we have one,
But
is it one
I
def?
have two,
So-
but if we said the theoretical definition of recovery is here, is that recovery from surgery is defined as improvement in functional status and the perception that one is recovering.
Okay, now let's look at, you're on page, let's all go to this page, next to the article. Go to page 100, and let's just take recovery, our dependent variable. Okay? All right. Now I want you to go to the second sentence starting, we're on page 100. Oh, Zalon. We're on Zalon. The correlates of recovery among older adults. Page 100, first column, and the second paragraph. You with me? Where it starts with recovery from surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to go to the second part of that sentence where it says, in the context of Levine's conservation model, recovery is a return to wholeness and occurs by conservation of energy and restoration of integrity. So if you just took recovery, here you have a theoretical definition of recovery. Are you with me? Okay, it is to him, it is a return to wholeness that occurs by conservation of energy and restoration of integrity. Now what he says next is, for conservation, energy, structural integrity, personal integrity, he goes on and he talks about pain and depression. But recovery then, all you needed was to have that definition, the return to wholeness that occurs by conservation of energy and restoration of integrity, as measured by, and actually he tells you in that other sentence how it's going to be measured, but let's look to the methods section, how he's measuring recovery. As measured by, so what did he use to measure it?
Functional status and self-perception.
Okay, functional status. Now, was functional status was there a questionnaire that was used for that?
Enforced social
All
dependency
right.
scale.
So what you might want to do is, if there is an actual questionnaire, you're correct that he's using functional status, but how did they even measure functional status? They used as measured by, so let me use social dependence scale. You with me? The social dependence scale, and we don't have anything, self-perception of recovery was measured by asking participants. So just say self-perception item.
Oh, so you want us to go into how it's,
You need the scale.
the actual method?
The scale, the scale, how was it measured, not in detail, just the name of the scale, if they
Okay.
have one.
We hadn't talked about methods yet, so I
No.
didn't get into doing that. I thought you just wanted us to stick with.
Well,
recovery.
you actually did very
Right,
well,
part
but
two.
sometimes they're not gonna give you this, they're
It
gonna
was
just
right
tell
in
you
that, yeah.
the questionnaire. So that's why we're doing this, is so that
Okay.
you did very well, because that is how they're gonna measure it, but then what is the tool that they're going, so you wanna, as measured by whatever questionnaire. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? Okay, very good. All right, is he okay with the bottom part here in reference? We'll just let him go ahead. Everybody have the reference? No?
Zalon.
Well, it should be in
Surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so so we wanna make this double spaced. You may not be able to do that on a test, but, and then what has to be indented?
Yeah. Second line?
All right. Is everything else correct, though? The information that he's given us, is it correct?
We need to add 53 parentheses to.
Lauren should have, oh, you know how to do that.
Now, we're talking right here about reference. Is the reference, everybody's okay with the reference?
I like
Did
it.
you put the volume and the number, like 53 and then
The
2?
53, the issue number, for the most part, we are not going to use because most of those referred, typically you don't use an issue number if it is continuous pagination. That means volume 1 starts with number 1 of that year. And it continues through every issue.
And if we did.
If it restarts, this is why I'm saying, don't put the issue number in, just the volume.
Okay.
Because most often that would be correct, and it's rare that you have the issue number, and you'll know that when you're doing your own papers. You can look and see. But for our purposes, most of the time it's continuous, so don't bother with the issue number. Okay? Very good. Okay, what is our, you did good,
Next.
thank you. Yeah, does it make sense what we're talking about today? Everybody's,
This is gonna be a student question too.
okay, who's the, what's the next group? What's the, next study, wants to come forth and do? How are we doing on time?
We had
Oh,
Skritkowski.
okay, we're gonna have to, we're coming close to the end of the time.
Gonna do it tomorrow?
Let me just see, yeah, we might, let's take at least one, cause it's 3:08, let's go ahead and have another group come up. I don't care who wants to real quick, come on.
Do you
And
want
let's
these?
at least do, yes, I do want those, and then we'll.
The one thing that's on there is what we came up with, so you'll still have it.
Safely remove that.
Huh?
Did we put our names on that?
I made a, it's entitled with all of our names. The Doc X.
So are we turning these in as well or no?
Well, I think for today, if you don't mind, since I can bring it back tomorrow and I'll mark it down, let me go ahead and have those. I was just gonna take this, but since we obviously couldn't get through everything.
Does it matter which one of these I stick it in?
Yes, it's in, well, I think it might. Let's do it positively. Let's hope. Okay, so let me have your papers that you wrote on, just so I can give you credit, because I don't have, I don't wanna take, actually I want you to keep this. I don't wanna take your, flash drives, except for those who finished today. Otherwise, I won't know, we'll have to open them up and see who they belong to. So keep them until tomorrow, but bring them back tomorrow, and we'll work on them in the second load.
Didn't actually write it down, put it in there.
Yeah, she's making a copy for you. Was that Jackie?
I'm working on making it bigger right now.
Now, who else had this article? Let's see which one it is. Which article is it?
Yeah.
Who else had the P and L one? Okay, what group?
We did,
All
yeah.
right, so we want to do, you want to do this.
This better be good.
Let's do this. So that you're just covering that, and then they can have this. Are there just two groups that are doing this one? Anybody else doing the P and L? I think I only had one that's doing this. Okay. All right, so we do have two, so you probably could do the third question, but I think we're gonna run out of time. So go ahead with the first one.
All right, the first question was briefly state the problem and why the research study was reviewed by the research, why they found it necessary. And we said that the authors expressed concern that no research had been conducted to examine the impact of care provided by a pivot nurse in oncology.
Now, it's Strukowski, if you're wondering which one it is. So if you've got this article, that's what she's looking at.
So we cited that incorrectly,
Yeah, what would you need to do?
put the author's name.
How many authors do you have?
7.
Yeah, see,
Okay, so you start off with,
Skritkowski et al.
yeah, so what you're gonna need here too is an et al. So let's put up here, Strukowski et al., parentheses, 2008.
What? Is this right?
You could do it there if you want.
Yeah,
That's put a period, right? Somewhere?
after,
Go ahead, next, et al., period, comma, 2008, parentheses. Now, the problem is you've got P and O over here, and you're gonna have to put that somewhere else.
So is this correct now?
Yeah. Put a parentheses here, that's where.
Where?
Well, you got, did you not wanna put P and O, you don't have to, that's fine, that's fine. So is this, would you agree that the other group that did this is what you expressed concern that little research has been conducted to examine the impact of care provided by pivot nurse in oncology? Was there any, let me just add a thing, this kind of captures the essence, but, to examine the impact of care for what?
Breast and lung cancer.
Okay, so would it have helped to have just had a little bit of, maybe a little bit more information there, since this is not a direct quote? You might want to just give enough so that you understand what the little information's about, correct?
Just added that in there.
The impact of care of breast and lung cancer patients provided by, well, it's actually, well, it's because you're up here and it's hard to see, but it's the impact of a pivot nurse in with breast and lung cancer patients, right? So, okay, that's all right, let's leave it alone, we'll go to the next one, we'll take care of it. Okay, she has the second part of this, so she has this on page 9, and we'll only need 1 P if it's only 1 page. So, 9, she's got us on 949. And she's saying that there is a purpose statement there.
We have.
Do you want me
Is
to read
that
it?
the same?
That's exactly what we have.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
The present study was undertaken to assess the impacts of P&O provided care on levels of symptoms, distress, fatigue, quality of life, and use of healthcare resources for patients with lung and breast cancer.
Okay, so, what do we need here? We have a quote, so what is she leaving out? Is
That's
one
it,
thing-
that's all.
Okay, you need your et al, because you always remember your other people. There are other authors.
Very common.
Wait, like that?
Good, okay, wonderful, this is for this article, so bring yours, let me have, keep your, whoever's got flash drives, we're gonna quit because I've got 3:15, right?
Alright, we're
You do
keeping
too.
ours.
So, let me have these papers, I'll give them back to you tomorrow, we'll have the quiz, just one sec, we'll have the quiz